What's up, everybody? Welcome to Tones Overthinks It, the show where I think too much to make up for the people who don't think at all. And I'm back. Not gonna lie, things got kind of out of hand last time.
What the fuck?
Fortunately, that won't happen again now that I've relocated to the one place that hasn't been corrupted by stupidity.
Space!
Right you are, Mr. Curry. You are a wise legend indeed. Now, as I mentioned in a previous non-canon video, I plan to expand this channel to include a wider range of topics. And by that I mean basically any topic. Whatever I feel like switching on the mic and sharing with you. It may be interesting for everyone to listen to, may only be interesting for one or two. In any case, as long as it encourages someone to think when they otherwise would not have, that's my game. And while I admit discussing the proverbial dumpster fire of internet drama that is the First Amendment auditing community has been fun, lately I have found it a bit too taxing, so rather than discuss the individuals and their exploits, I'm going to limit myself to maybe just my thoughts on the practice. So in addition to the new stuff, I'll still be taking the occasional detour back to them, just to discuss them the best way I know how. Now, without further ado, let's broaden our minds. Now, I feel a good topic we could begin on that both bridges the gap between the old and the new content is a discussion not so much on First Amendment auditors, but rather anyone who films themselves doing things that most of us would consider ill-advised and posting it publicly. And it's not just frauditors who do this. Sovereign citizens do it, prank channels do it, people following popular internet stunts and fads do it, and then at the very bottom you have people who you don't really know what they're doing. They're just filming themselves performing an action that's either illegal and or stupid. Penguin Zero touched on this recently when he covered a video last week of a bunch of young teenagers who decided to film themselves clowning around inside the back of McDonald's, harassing the employees, and basically saying and doing a lot of really dumb things. And apparently this wasn't the only time they did it. They've done it several times and posted it onto TikTok or Facebook and even have said that they're going to continue doing it. Like, they are completely lacking in any kind of self-awareness that what they're doing is wrong and harmful to people potentially. Like, at what point did mankind suddenly accept the idea of, hey everybody, watch me do something stupid for your enjoyment? Sure, we had the comedic blooper and stunt shows like Jackass and pretty much almost every Japanese game show you can think of, but in those instances, everybody's on board. No laws are being broken, nobody's being horribly victimized. Although admittedly sometimes they could take it a bit far. Like, I'm pretty sure this guy will have developed an irrational fear of public bathrooms and emus. But getting back on point, there are people in this world who are willing to go out and break the law and film themselves doing it to put on the internet. Now, the question I've had since the beginning, and no doubt many people have asked when watching people on the internet make utter fools or criminals of themselves, is why? Why would someone choose to put themselves into a situation that could potentially change their lives, and certainly not for the better, when any rational person certainly would have enough sense not to? Well, I'm no psychoanalyst, but I would guess that many decisions made by sentient creatures, human or otherwise, are based mainly on the positive and or negative consequences that would result from those decisions. So what has been the most common motivation for people to take risks?
Money and power.
Yep, either a perverse desire to assert dominance and impose one's will upon others who have little to no means to fight back, or more commonly, financial gain. But Tones, you're no doubt asking, how can causing and getting into frequent trouble possibly be profitable? Well, gentle viewer, we need only look to the prime example of the First Amendment auditor to answer that question, and thus explore a little something I like to call Fraudonomics. See what I did there? Combined the words frauditor and economics and at the same time plug the title. See? Yeah, you guys waited a whole month for this. Anyways, Fraudonomics, not to be confused with the pun invented by cartoonists of the first Togolese satirical newspaper La Perle in order to denounce fraud, corruption, and injustice, is the term I've decided to use to describe the reasoning by which one can financially benefit from their own criminal behavior. And since I've spent the last year watching a considerably unhealthy number of frauditor videos, they're the example that can provide the most data. And from my observations, the most common criminal charges that they risk facing in the course of their tomfoolery, in order of most likely, are trespassing, obstruction or interfering, and disorderly conduct. There are other charges that can be picked up, such as assault or discharge of pepper spray, etc., but these incidences are actually few and far between, so I don't usually count them. Pre-existing criminal records and any crimes that's committed outside of the scope of their First Amendment auditing activities are also not included. Now, in all 50 states, these crimes are commonly Class A or first degree, depending on what state you're in, misdemeanors. These are punishable typically by up to 12 months in jail, and or community service, probation, and fines. Now these can sound severe, but bear in mind that most judges and prosecutors don't seek the maximum punishment, even if a conviction is likely. And that's assuming the case makes it to trial and ends in a verdict. Most of the time, these charges lead to little or no jail time, and fines amounting to less than the potential maximum. While there have been some exceptions, with some frauders landing probation and more serious sentences when they either violate an agreement related to a previous case or commit a more serious crime in the process of their frauding, the odds of finding oneself in that situation is relatively low. And in regards to those teenagers in the UK that were harassing McDonald's that Penguin Zero was talking about, well, apparently because they're just teenagers, they haven't been arrested, they haven't been charged. Usually when the police have to be called to get them out of there really isn't anything else they can do. And these kids know it. So there's actually very little in terms of discouragement. And of course the parents aren't doing anything about it, but God knows they should. So really it's that lack of serious consequences that would embolden someone to continue their unsavory behavior. And I didn't even address the potential for dismissed cases or the prosecutor declaring null prosequi in which there are no consequences at all. So having addressed what all this behavior can potentially cost someone, it still begs the question of how any of it could be outweighed so much by the benefits that so many people are willing to engage in it. So once again, deferring to First Amendment auditors as an example, let's take a look at some numbers. Long Island Audit, aka Sean Paul Reyes, was convicted for trespassing in Danbury, Connecticut, and while we have certainly found him descending into delete laws level dramatics because of his inability to cope with that outcome entertaining, the unfortunate bitter pill we have to swallow is that Reyes may have benefited more financially from that incident. Despite being convicted once again for a Class A misdemeanor, the only sentence he got was to pay a $90 fine. Now it may upset you that that wasn't much of a punishment, but what will really get your blood boiling is how much money he made as a result of this. The video of the incident in which he was charged for trespassing has gotten over 736,000 views, and the estimated total earnings for a video with that many views sits between $1,000 and $2,500. And that's just the video of the actual incident and does not include the earnings from the 17 other videos he posted that just talk about it. So on one hand, you have a $90 fine and becoming a social pariah, and in the other, you have thousands of dollars in ad revenue. See how this could be such an easy decision for someone who's even moderately immoral? And consider this for a moment. This is just one channel, and one incident where charges were filed, and it ended in a conviction. There are numerous channels with countless videos out there that don't end in an arrest or charges being filed. So, in that situation, there is no cost, only benefit. And it's not just the frauditors on YouTube we gotta worry about. You also have the prank channels on places like TikTok, the original platform for viral videos of ill repute, where you have pranksters with questionable morals such as Daily Loud. You know, the kind of person who thinks that it's a funny prank to lie to everybody that you're gonna bring food to a homeless person, and also a prank to troll said homeless person by eating said food in front of him.
Shit kicker.
Oh, I'm not done. How about someone who thinks it's funny to taunt a guy refueling a gas station by waving a cigarette lighter in front of him and saying, "Hey, I have power over your life and death."
Wow, that's messed up.
Yeah. So what's the solution to this? New legislation? Harsher punishments? Those of us who detest people who make these kinds of videos would probably think that's a good idea, but the truth is, it's not. Unlike them, we appreciate the freedoms we have and we use them responsibly. We shouldn't have to pay the price for other people who don't know how to act. So, if we can't increase the consequences, then we need to decrease the rewards. Platforms like YouTube and TikTok need to take a closer look at the content that people are uploading and understand that they shouldn't be monetizing and, by extension, endorsing criminal behavior. If you could take away that revenue stream, then there is little to no motivation remaining for these individuals to post these kinds of videos. Even in the First Amendment auditing community, we see some of these, air quotes, activists actually considering the prospect of giving up because after so many arrests and so many fines they have to pay, their viewing numbers and ad revenue just isn't making it worth it. Which is a good thing because of two reasons. One, obviously crime shouldn't pay, and two, we get to see their true colors and know what their true motives are. Now bear in mind, I'm not saying that they shouldn't be allowed to post their videos. By all means, I think anyone should be able to post anything. The First Amendment of the Constitution grants us the freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom of expression, but what it does not guarantee you is to be financially compensated for exercising those freedoms. So whether or not the videos you upload are monetized should be subject to scrutiny and regulation. It's their money. They should be free to choose who they give it to. And right now, they're choosing to give it to some people who really shouldn't be further encouraged to do what they do. Because sooner or later, someone is going to take it too far. You already have kids willing to run into the back of a private business. How long before they start filming themselves pepper spraying homeless people, charging at random people in parking lots while carrying weapons, filming themselves assaulting or even killing someone? These are things that no one should have any encouragement to do. There should be no reward for this whatsoever. And only when there isn't one will people not do it. But then again, maybe I'm just overthinking it. Thanks for watching, everybody. If you like what you see here and you want to see even more in the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. Also, feel free to share your thoughts down in the comment section. I always love to read them. Till next time. Can I just say, those kids would not dare pull that stunt here in the US. I mean, you do not screw with American fast food workers. They're on minimum wage. They've got nothing to lose. You pull that crap with them, they'll make chicken nuggets out of your testicles.